All right, we are live for a special edition of Travel TIPSY Tuesday here on my channel, The Traveling Lucy, and I have 5 awesome creators here with me today, and I'm super excited to do this. I've never had multiple creators on at once. If you've been on my channel, you guys have seen I have actually interviewed each and every one of the people that are on here tonight in a separate edition of Travel Tip Tuesday without a drink, but we all have our drinks tonight, and we wanted to bring you some holiday spirits and share with you guys, our travel tips while being a little tipsy, talking about drinks, talking about travel, and just, having a great time with the holiday spirit out there. We know that Christmas is different, or the holiday season is different this year with COVID and all that crazy jazz going on, but we still have fun. So I'm really excited to have everyone on tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We've got a plethora of people to get through, and I want to make sure that you guys know who we're talking to if you haven't checked them out on my previous Travel Tip Tuesday. So I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves. But if you guys are here for the first time on my channel, feel free to check me out. But hey, Kayla, why don't you start us off?
All right. Hello, you guys. My name is Kayla. I am currently in Michigan, and we have a Tipsy Rudolph Spritzer.
Love it. All right. So next up, Beth, what do you have today?
Hey guys, my name is Beth. I am currently in Canada, but I am originally from Australia, and I have a boozy hot chocolate.
Ooh, love it.
It's
very good. All right, Christine, what you got?
I'm Christine. I'm a California girl that's currently in Florida, just got back from Mexico, about to leave for Africa. But champagne is my lifestyle because I'm all about living a life that's worth celebrating. So that's where I'm at.
Love it. Awesome. All right. What about you, Deanna?
Hello, I'm Deanna. I'm drinking some eggnog here, and yeah, I usually do Southeast Asia travel videos, so I'm stuck in Boston right now, but I am having lots of fun with these girls and the eggnog. Cheers!
Awesome. Thanks, Deanna. All right. What about you, Bex?
Hello, I'm Bex. I'm currently in my bed in the UK because it's actually just gone past midnight here, so I've got my vodka cranberry from my bed, and I've got Santa with me. Because why not?
Love it. Awesome. And guys, I have eggnog and vodka with some nutmeg in a fancy cup that my friend actually made me. So. Yes, I'm enjoying. So we are, we're here. We're talking about Travel Tipsy Tuesday today. And why don't we start off with, we've all been overseas, we've all been traveling, we've all had these extensive trips, but what has been your favorite drink abroad when traveling? I know that there's so many drinks to choose from, and that's probably a hard question, but let us know where were you, what was the experience, and tell us that. Kayla, want to start us?
I mean, this is a hard one. Let's see here. I went to Cuba and drank my way through mojitos. So that was fun. But I would probably say one of my favorite drinks that I've had so far while traveling is a Pisco sour in Peru.
Ooh, a peaceful sour?
A Pisco.
Oh, Pisco. What's a Pisco sour? I don't even know what that is.
It's an alcoholic beverage, obviously.
No, she didn't ask questions. She just drank.
But I think the Pisco itself is an alcohol, and then they have like an egg white, but it comes in a bunch of different flavors. So
very cool. Now I'll have to add that to my alcohol list when I go. What about you, Beth?
Okay, I reckon my favorite. So I've been living in Canada for 2 years, and I did 2 winter seasons at a ski resort. And when you went to the summit, there was this little bar cafe thing, and you could get boozy hot chocolates. And they were do you know if you guys know those roller chocolate bars? But it was a roller hot chocolate, and that used to be my motivation to go to the summit every time. So I was if I go to the top of the mountain, I can get this boozy hot chocolate. It was it's so good.
I love that motivation. If I get to the top, I get a drink. That actually reminds me of a story too, so I'll have to add that in there.
Love that.
What about you, Christine?
I love drinking wine, and I have chased wine countries around the world for a lot of my travels. And so what's funny is that the wine country that was in my old backyard, so I used to live in San Francisco, going to Russian River, Sonoma, Napa Valley, and just going up there with all of my friends to drink wine is one of my most favorite things. But as I'm planning my Africa trip, what's funny for me is that I'm more interested in planning the wine aspect of the trip than the safari aspect, but I love chasing wine around the world.
I love that. So where has been, and I'll ask you, where was the best place so far? That's probably a really hard question, but
that's a really hard question. I would say one of the most memorable ones is in Chile. I was in Chile right when the really big earthquake happened. Or right after, rather. And what happened was that a lot of the wineries lost like millions of gallons of wine, such that there were like rivers of wine going down the streets. And it was interesting to be there, one of the first tourists right after that, to be visiting these wineries and to see a lot of the damage and destruction. Not that that was a positive thing, but it was really cool to see how quickly they recovered and how quickly they were serving drinks again. So that was
I love that. That's funny. What about you, Deanna?
Well, now I got two little mini stories, but one is the craziest drink that we saw on our travels, and then the other one is my favorite. But when we were in Laos, they had this like set up with a huge glass jar, and in the glass jar they put like all types of different reptiles that were like dead. And so it was like snakes, lizards, frogs, and they filled this glass jar with whiskey, and it was like a thing to make the tourists do of like whiskey, snake whiskey, try a shot of this and it will like bring you strength for life or something. So of course we had to try it. So I basically like drank like whiskey soaked in like dead reptiles, which is so weird. Nothing happened. It was totally fine. So that was the craziest one. And my favorite was actually, speaking of wine, this is rice wine. I don't know if you guys ever had it, but we used to get it all the time when me and my fiance were living in Vietnam. And it was really awesome because it was very, very cheap. So for like 5 cents, you would just get like a little mini glass of rice wine. And it was like, kind of tasted like sake a little bit, but like a little bit lighter. So that was my favorite. Rice wine for 5 cents all the time.
I mean, anything alcoholic for 5 cents, I think I'm in.
I want to go back over there.
Yeah, right. I mean, unless it's like, yeah, that's something that I just don't like. But yeah, that's awesome. You know, it's so funny, the stories, little stories that you guys are like mentioning are making me remember times. Like that bug story, like in Prague, there was like a crazy time that they had like a bug in a drink, but they didn't tell anybody. So you're like drinking, and then it was like there. I was like, oh my god, it was like it was crazy. So that's, you know, I guess I just like to get the tourists with that. But Bex, what about you?
Well, okay, so I'll probably say, I don't know, I've been to like loads of places that have some really awesome drinks, but to narrow it down, I'd probably say my favorite drink, because I love rum, so I'm going to go with the mojito as well for my favorite, because I can literally drink rum till the cows come home. I think I'm a born pirate. But like the coolest drink I've had, or weirdest drink actually, was, I don't know if it's even alcoholic. I don't think it's actually alcoholic, but it's called Kava, and they have it in Fiji, and it's basically, they give it to you in like a wooden bowl, and it tastes like a tree. It tastes like soil. It's not it's really strange. And you basically have to, so I was trying to sip it out of this bowl, and he's like, no, you have to drink it in one go. So you have to take this gigantic mouthful of this soil water. Very strange. But they do it like as you go into a shop, or like when you first meet someone. It's kind of like a greeting. And apparently if you drink enough of it, it has the effects of marijuana.
Actually, so it's funny you mentioned that. Does anybody else know about Kava? No? Okay, why is Florida weird? Literally, we have like 3 Kava bars around here. Like, that's a thing. Like,
it doesn't taste that good though. It tastes like you're drinking bark or soil. It's not very nice.
Yeah, and they're like, you know, it's not technically alcohol. It's like whatever, not marijuana, but like,
yeah, it's like a root plant. Like a root plant of some sort.
Yeah, so that's so funny that you mentioned that, and like everybody else is like, I don't know what that is, and I'm like, there's like 12 of those here. Like, what
Yeah, it's very, very strange. We walked in, and the thing is, I was working on a cruise ship at the time, and obviously, I had to go back to work after having the morning off to go exploring Fiji, and obviously I couldn't go back onto the ship, like, in whatever state. So I had this bowl, and everyone was like, "Oh, it'll be fine." And then I was like paranoid for the rest of my time on Fiji, thinking, "Is it going to hit me in a weird way?" Luckily I was fine. Like, it didn't affect me at all. And apparently you need like a large amount of it to feel the effects. But I was there like worried for the whole day. Like, am I okay? Am I going to get back on the ship?
We have someone who says, "Yes, it tastes like sawdust."
Yeah. Not pleasant. Really.
So was that you said that was your favorite, Bex?
No, my strangest. My favorite was a mojito, because I like rum.
Oh, that's right, the mojito. Okay, that's funny. I love that. So my favorite is I actually have the bottle with me, which is, surprising that I've kept it. Well, most of them are empty actually, but I have like packaging, so you can't even see that well. That's a little sample pack. There's like 4 different flavors, but it's called Bekarovka. Bekarovka. And it's from Czech Republic. So this is a herbal liqueur. And they have like, this is like their signature drink or whatever it might be, and it's like delicious. Just it tastes like herby, but like a good herb, and like the lemon flavor is my favorite, and it's like super.
When I was in Budapest, I had a mixed herb vodka. It wasn't very nice. It wasn't lemony, I mean, it was like, it tasted like someone honestly got mixed herbs, put them in vodka and let them like ferment.
Yeah, they just threw some oregano in there and was like, it's good.
Yeah. Speaking of lemony drinks, limoncello in Italy is like amazing. Have you guys had limoncello? It's like tastes like an icy pop or something.
Oh,
yeah, it just tastes like an ice lemon slushy. That's kind of what it tastes like, but there's no ice, so it's just like liquid deliciousness. That's straight up lemon. So
I have had limoncello, and it's so funny you mentioned that, because I was literally trying to remember what Beth mentioned earlier about like going to the mountain. I was like, what was I trying to mention? And then you mentioned the limoncello. So in Italy, I was in Italy, and I did this huge hike. It was like an 8-mile hike through the mountains on the coast of the Amalfi Coast, and we get to the end. Well, what we thought was the end. We thought it was the end of the path, because the path was over. And there's like this little shop that's like in the middle of like the mountain. That's just like this cute little mom and pop shop or whatever. And so we're like huffing and puffing. We're like, oh, thank God that's over now. Like, oh, this is good. Or no, sorry, not 8 mile. It was an 8-hour hike. It was an 8-hour hike. So, 8 hours. Yeah. And so we get there, and I'm like, I really needed a drink and everything like that. And they said I saw they had limoncello, and they're like, yeah, it's our homemade limoncello. And I was like, oh, we're in the mountains of Italy. We've got to have a limoncello shot. Like, I was like, guys, you haven't had limoncello? And like, so we all got limoncello shots and like had a picture and everything, even though we looked horrible because it was just like 8 hours of hiking. And then we realized, because we asked them how long it was to get down to the bottom, and they were like, oh, it's 2,000 steps. And I thought, like, I'm thinking like, steps, like not like like walking, no, stairs. 2,000 stairs to get down the bottom, and the stairs were like uneven stairs, so you kind of had to like trot down them. There was no like walking down the stairs. You kind of had to like trot or run down. So we had just had limoncello and like water and everything like that. We're like running down, and like it was interesting. But that was supposed to be our like, we did the hike and like we made it, and it just didn't work out so well. So it was fine. So speaking of that, that actually leads me into what I wanted to ask you guys next. So like, what is your most memorable like drinking experience? Like, and by the way, anybody who's watching live, you guys are welcome to ask any questions at any time. Feel free to like chime in, and we will be happy to answer them. But yeah, well, what's your most memorable drinking story while traveling, Kayla?
Well, memorable. There's a lot of them, But there's this one to Barbados on this one trip, wanting to go snorkel with sea turtles, but a hurricane hit like a few days before, so the water was like super murky. So instead of snorkeling, we just got drunk and had lunch. And let's just say I couldn't walk off the catamaran afterwards. So, but honestly, I will say Barbados has the best rum punch. So,
okay, not your typical.
No, it has like a ginger type taste with it. It's really good. Obviously, so.
No.
Oh, you need refill? Like, my God. Probably why I couldn't walk off the catamaran afterwards.
That's hilarious. I love that. What about you, Beth?
The one that like is coming to my mind right now, and I don't even know why, is my friend and I, like, so we were both from Australia, and we went to Walt Disney World in Florida, and I remember that it was like Mickey's Christmas party or something, and it was like you were allowed to dress up as characters. So my friend and I dressed up as Minnie Mouse, and we were like, let's just get as drunk as we can before going into like the Magic Kingdom. And we got so drunk, and I just remember like riding Space Mountain like hundreds of times, just completely drunk. And I'm like, I don't even know how I survived that. Like, looking back, I'm like, how did I not throw up? Like, how did I do that? Like, I don't know, but yeah.
Literally, you saying that, I'm like, how did you not throw up?
I know. I have no idea. I just remember we were so drunk, and we just thought it was like the best idea. I mean, at the time it was awesome, but looking back, I'm like, how? How?
No, free drinking is never a good idea.
Yeah. No. It was fun.
Every time you ever thought that, it always is a good experience, but you know.
Yeah.
The next day you're
Always
like,
a story.
why did I do that?
Do it for the story. You know how like they say, like, do it for the gram, like do it.
100%.
I love that. What about you, Christine?
My best drinking memories while traveling are probably the ones that I can't remember. But I would say my answer is a toss-up between two. Last New Year's into 2020, I spent it traveling solo through Italy and Spain. And I was in Madrid, and I love going to nightclubs. And I had the best time at a nightclub by myself, drinking bubbly, and that was how I brought in 2020. But that's tied with a road trip I did in France. And I did this road trip over like 3 weeks, in which it was just a drinking road trip, in which I went from Champagne to the wine chateaus in Bordeaux to Cognac to like all the different spots around France, and was just so hungover from that trip that I spent a week in Saint Michel, I think it's called, is their beach town, just being sober, because I was like, I don't think I can ever drink this much ever again.
That's hilarious. What about you, Deanna?
Let's see. Well, definitely the full moon party in Thailand, in PP, the PP Islands, was definitely like the craziest type of party experience, because not only did they have the whole beaches covered with all different kinds of performers, and they had light fire throwers, and they had limbo that was actually like also on fire. So you had to like limbo under the on fire thing. And this is like all these drunk tourists stumbling around. They had water slides. They had like structures in the water you could play on. And they gave you like these huge buckets for only like $5, which was just full of like straight alcohol of some sort. So that is really fun. If you're ever in Thailand, you got to go to some full moon party, because they're all over the place, but they're definitely very fun, very crazy. Be careful if you're like drinking and like you can run to the ocean and just like, drown in the ocean, but no drowning. No one got hurt, but yeah. So that was one of my favorite drinking party times was in the PP Islands.
That's crazy. And that's probably really dangerous for me, because I love limboing. So like drunk me going to limbo underneath a fire stick.
Oh, they also had fire jump roping too.
God.
People don't die. Like,
no, I mean, yeah, because with they turned off the fire after like it got a little bit lower and lower. But with the jump rope, they just left the fire and the rope was on fire, and you're supposed to jump rope with the fire rope. But I was like, Cedric, you're not doing that. We're not doing fire rope jump open. We can just watch. But
full moon going crazy. That's why they say you go crazy when you get a full moon. I love that. What about you, Bex?
I don't know. I'm gonna say two really quickly because I couldn't pick like between these two. Obviously, there's been a lot of drunken travel memories. They're the best, but I'll say these two stood out the most. And the first one was in Canada for New Year's Eve, like 2016, 2017. I'm not really sure exactly what time. But it was obviously snowing low because it snows in Canada. I'm at our friend's house. There's maybe like 10 of us was having like a small gathering, like drinking, dancing, whatever. And then we had all our beer lined up out the window because it was just dumped, like let in the snow, obviously because there was so much snow. The window was just on the latch, and we could just reach out the window and get our alcohol, which was a fantastic experience. And then when the fireworks went off, we went out on her road, and she lives on a bit of a hill. We took the sledges out, and we were like sledging down the hill, and the fireworks are going off. It was really cool. That was my first one. Then my second one that kind of ties is the opposite. So it's in Hawaii. It was in Hawaii, and it was sunny rather than winter. And I met this Australian. And you'd think the Australians are used to the sun, but she wasn't used to the sun at all. She's like she'd burn so much. She was like, I can't go out in the sun. I was like, don't you literally live in one of the hottest countries? She was like, yeah, no, I can't really go out in the sun. So we're in Hawaii, and it's like 2 PM, and we decide to buy alcohol and drink it in the shade, like in our hostel kind of outside area. So we're drinking in the shade from like 2 till 6:30, and then the sun starts to set about 6:30. So we get the dinghies from the hostel, go down to the ocean, and the ocean's still really warm. The sun's setting, and we're just drinking in the ocean. And then we're both passed out by about 8 PM. It was great. I had a great night of sleep. I woke up feeling fantastic.
That's hilarious. I love that. Geez, so those are some great stories. Like, honestly, it's funny. Someone said, Christine, you said that your best stories are the ones that you can't remember. Like, so I have like the worst memory ever. Like, I barely can remember yesterday very well. So it's funny because actually when I'm drinking, like, I remember better. Like, I remember better when I'm drunk. But it's funny. I have so many stories, and like the one that's like coming to mind right now, which I don't think is the craziest, but like I guess obviously most memorable because I'm like remembering it right now, is when I went to Germany. I went to Germany, which is obviously, I mean, anywhere you go in Europe, like, you're drinking all the time, like no matter where. And so I went to Germany, and I remember going to a restaurant like for dinner and being like, hey, like, where should we go? Like, oh, like, what's the best place to see? Like, asking locals. I always like to ask locals. And he was like, okay, go here and then go here after. And then like maybe here if you want, right? So we go to this one club, and it's like 7 different like music types and like the same like club, like literally these different rooms like that are soundproof, so you could like go into this room and like it's just like one music style, and then you go into a whole nother room and it's like a whole nother like vibe going on. So it was like crazy. So we were there for like a while, and here in Florida, it ends at like 2 a.m. Like drinking. So when it got to like 2 a.m., we're like, he was like, go here as the after club, right? So we like go to this after club at like 2 a.m. and they're closed. And we're like, why are you guys closed? And they're like, oh, this is like the after club. And we're like, yeah, it's 2 a.m. Like, why aren't you open? Like, and then they were like, oh, like, we don't open until the bar's closed at like 6 a.m. And we're like, oh, okay. They're like, so you can go to this other bar. And we're like, and then you can come back here at 6. And we're like, okay, probably not. But so we go to this other club that he recommended or whatever. It's literally like packed like sardines, like straight up sardines in this club at like 2 a.m. Like literally all of Germany might as well have been in this club. And like, we ended up just like drinking the night away. That we like squeezed into like the place, and like we ended up sitting like in the corner, and there were like happened to be like this bachelor party there, and like they were like, you guys want drinks? Yeah, free drinks. And we're like, okay. Like, so we were like just drinking with this bachelor party and like having a good old time. It was great. So that was like my most memorable time. We didn't make it to the 6 a.m. club, but
they have a really similar club, a really similar thing in Budapest. They have like the 7-story, 7 different, I think it was like 4 stories, and it had 7 different rooms. Like you had a drum and bass room, you had a pop room, you had I don't know, rock and roll or something, and there was all these different rooms and that had different music. But when you're in each room, you couldn't hear the other room's music. It was really cool, and it sold pizza inside as well, which is just a great idea.
I love that. But yeah, no, obviously pizza, duh.
Your club story reminds me of a crazy club night in Australia. We were just hanging out with the people in Perth and with our hostel, and everything was going fine. Everyone was drinking, dancing, having a great old time. But then suddenly one of the Australian dudes from our hostel like starts yelling and like having a fight with somebody in the club. And then like the whole club is like starting to circle around them now because now they're like looking like they're about to start beating each other up. And then lo and behold, our hostel friend like punches some guy in the face and they're both like brawling out on the floor and everyone's like, ah! And we're all like, oh my God, what are you doing? And stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And they had to get separated by security and then like we all had to share a ride home, and we were just like, "Oh my God! Like this guy is so crazy. Why is he with us?"
There's always one. There's always someone that has to do that.
What is it?
Yeah. There's always someone that has to do that. I'm the kind of girl that's on the dance floor, like going for it. I'm trying to. I can't twerk to save my life, but I'm always the girl that's trying to twerk on the dance floor. And there's always someone that has to try and hit somebody. I'm like, come on, just shake your bum. Come on, why are you hitting someone? Just twerk. Why not?
Just shake your bum, she said.
Yeah, just shake your bum.
I love it. No, that's hilarious. And hey, to anybody who's watching, if you guys have any questions you guys want to ask us, like feel free. This is, Travel Tipsy Tuesday. If you need any tips for travel, we're here for you.
Did we lose someone?
What was that?
Did we lose someone?
Yeah, so Beth, her Wi-Fi kept kicking her out. Oh, there she is. Oh, I was like, I guess she's not coming back.
No, I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. Every time it just keeps like cutting out, but hopefully it's good now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm back.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
All right, so it's funny, we talked about this earlier. I think I'm going to bring it up now. So I figured it would be fun to do like a Never Have I Ever travel edition between all of us.
Yes.
So hopefully everyone would like that. And actually, you want to know what would be really cool? I wonder if people could if you guys are watching live, if you want to be like, never have I.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're watching live,
yes, that's good.
In the comments, what have you never, say your never have I ever, and then we'll put it up. And then if we have done it, we're going to drink to that.
Can I just say that Lucy suggested putting a finger down, and we were like, no, you have to have a sip of your drink. That's way more exciting.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in preschool. It's fine. Yeah. That's so funny. So if anybody out there that's watching, I see you guys, we've got some live viewers, put a never have I ever. What have you never done that you want to throw out our way? And then we will answer and drink to it if we have done it. Anybody throw something out there? I'm like waiting.
Come on.
Come on, give us some, or we can start it off with something else. So we can start it off, and then as they come in, with something, we can add those in. Yeah. So who has one? Who has a never have I ever? Who wants to start? Christine, go.
I have one that's totally going to get Lucy. Never have I ever stayed at a hostel. I've never stayed at a hostel.
What? Never stayed in a hostel.
I'm all about that hotel life.
I love it.
Well, don't worry, guys. I'm gonna change that for Christine. I am gonna. Yeah, I told her, I was like, she almost considered it on her last trip.
I tried in Mexico. It was $350 a night for that hostel.
Oh yeah, don't do that one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so what's that? Like hostels are like $10 a night.
Yeah, cheaper and more fun.
I think they might have forgot the S, All right, so you got all of us actually. So does anybody else have one they want to throw out there while we wait? If you guys are watching live, throw out a never have you ever, and we will answer it and we'll bring it up on the screen. Go ahead.
I've got one. Never have I ever scuba dived.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to. I'm just scared. I haven't got that
You
far
should
yet.
do it. It's not as scary once you get in there. And they start
Yeah.
going
I'm so scared.
in the ocean.
So
That's not
Question.
true. It's scary every single
Okay,
time.
thank you. I'm so scared.
For me, the problem was with the equalizing. It like hurts my ears, so I wouldn't be scared. But then when I would come out, like my ears would hurt, no matter how much I did the blow the nose thing under there and like all that kind of stuff. So
I can just imagine like being underwater, be like, well, I've got this, and then seeing, I don't know, some kind of creature and being like, oh my god, there's a creature, and then just freaking out.
yeah,
like, what's that moving in the water?
the scuba guy, your instructor will tell you what animals to avoid and show you pictures before you go under.
That's
And
I would be like, well, what if I can't see
away?
No, as soon as I saw anything, I'd be done. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. He can tell me what he likes, but as soon as I see it, I'll be like,
Yeah,
and then I'll just stop
yeah.
moving there and then.
I'm with you though.
Well, so does scuba diving in a pool count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your certification?
No. So when I was
I know they have to go to training and stuff.
so when I was like, I don't know, like 12 or 13 or whatever, I had a neighbor and he was like super into scuba diving, but I was like 12 or 13. So he would always let me be like, oh, you want to like scuba dive in like the pool, because there was like a neighborhood pool or whatever. So I like.
So you were, it was in a pool, and you weren't even traveling when you did it. That definitely does not count.
You're right. You're right.
I think Lucy has to drink 3 times for that error.
Okay, fine. All right. You're right.
Thailand was where I got my diving certification, and with nearly 100 dives under my belt, I was shaking in my wetsuit during every single dive last month in Mexico, including bull shark diving and includes cenote, which is cave cavern diving. It's scary every time. Amazing, but scary.
Mm.
Yeah, there's just so much to watch out for. I found that the plants are more dangerous than like the actual animals.
Yeah, I hate seeing
Animals kind of like stay away from you, but you got sea urchins that are like spiky under the water. And then I got a big rash on my arm from something called fire hydroid, which is just chilling on the coral. And I passed by it with my arm, and my whole arm felt like it was gonna explode on fire. And I had to.
I've
You
had
guys making it sound so good. I really want to do it now.
Yeah. I'm like,
Scary. We're telling you all the horror stories of scuba diving. You're like,
She's convinced.
It's for Christmas.
All right, so we have someone who threw one out there. Never has she ever swam with the pigs, Banana. Has anyone?
I want to. It's on
Like in Bahamas, like the Bahamas.
It's like the
no, I haven't done it.
No, oh look at us.
something we've all never done.
I mean, are we talking actual pigs, or can we have like? Are we talking like family members? That we can do?
She's like in a bathtub with like
little pigs.
little blew up pigs or something.
Stop! Oh my god.
I think that I should have to drink 3 times just for saying that. Oh, so we have someone who says, never has she ever traveled with a significant other.
I gotta drink to that one.
Here's for you. You know,
How do you define significant?
There's many insignificant
The only
others
one
for
that's
you.
never done that.
Okay, I've got a question. For those of you that travelled with your significant other, is that significant other still in your life? If not, take a drink.
Yeah.
Yes, they are still
I have to live with him.
not me.
yes, engaged, waiting for COVID to be over so we can get married.
Exciting.
Yeah, that's why this is like, you know.
Yes, but I have met and hung out with many couples over our 2-year backpacking trip that were together, but then eventually being together for so much and every single day, like it broke them up. So
Yeah,
I know
I left mine in another country.
Honestly,
I like-
go ahead.
Yeah.
I met my significant other overseas. Like we both met on a Kentucky tour. Yeah.
I'm like So look at Christine, you know, I'm just so jealous. I don't know, like, you know, where that doesn't happen to me. Like, like, that just doesn't happen. Like, unless I'm in a bar and, like, obviously, like, we're, like, you know what I mean? It's never been like you know,
So change that mindset. It definitely can happen.
2021, Lucy.
2021.
Yeah, right. We'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping to do no, see, you know, I guess I just, like, I don't know. You guys, you give me your notes. You tell me what I gotta do. We'll figure it out.
Honestly, you just gotta enjoy being traveling by yourself, and then someone will just appear.
Yeah, I always.
You'll be on like the best trip ever, doing your own thing, that you're fully loving life by yourself, and then suddenly someone will just appear, and you'll be like, "Oh, hello."
That is
and then,
so true.
I mean, it's yet to happen to me, but I've got high hopes.
I was saying,
like that.
2021.
What'd you say, Kayla?
I said I'm still waiting for that moment.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Friends, are like, how have you not found somebody? You've traveled all around the world. I'm like, it's harder than it looks.
That to you. That's rude.
Yeah, my mom the other day, she was like, "Are you even looking for a boyfriend?" I was like, "Excuse you."
I mean, with my fiance, we just ran into each other on the subway in Boston. Like, we just kind of like, we were going on the same train, and then I couldn't figure out how to, like, open the back door. This is a drinking story. I was, like, drunk, and the back door of the train wasn't opening, and then he came up, and he was like, "Oh, it's not opening. It's nighttime. They close it, and we got to use the front door." And I was like, "Oh, I know." And we just started walking and talking, and then right as we walked off the train, we passed a bar, and he's like, "Do you want to grab a drink?" And I was like, "Okay." So kind of, we basically had our first date right when we met, like 2 seconds later.
I have to break a door or act like a door isn't working for me. Damsel in distress. Oh, I can't. Oh, why isn't the door opening? Why won't the elevator go up? You have to press a button. Oh, okay. All right. We have another person who said, "Never have I ever." So, never have I ever missed a flight. Oh, Christine. What's that story?
I was okay. So I was in Florida, actually, where my boyfriend lives, who I met while traveling, and we had one heck of a night out, and I overslept my flight, which never happens because when I have early flights, I'll set multiple alarms. But I woke up really late, and he bolted out of bed. He was like, "Your flight," and I was like, "It's okay. I have status now. It doesn't matter. I'll be on the next flight." But of all the flights I've taken, I've only ever missed one.
You were like, "I have so what? You got like a ride on the next flight or something?"
Exactly.
Oh, that's sad.
Hey, you show up and you're like, "Do you know who I am?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah." Here's your glass of champagne as you enter the flight.
So that's why you don't stay at hostels, because you impotent.
On the contrary, I'm not.
I love that. That's funny. All right. Does anyone else have a never have I ever they want to throw out there?
Oh, I got it. Let's see. Never have I ever been bungee jumping.
I worked at a bungee jump. I've done like 100.
Oh my goodness. Are you scared? Wow. The bungee jumping is scary because of my luck, like a strap wouldn't be on, and I don't know.
Yeah, when you work there and you see how it's kind of done, and you kind of, I mean, to be fair, my first one that I didn't work there, and I absolutely pooed my pants. So my first one was in Canada, and I'd actually broke up with my significant other that I'd gone to Canada with. We broke up over Christmas of 2017. And then it was in the February, my friend from the UK came to visit me because she'd also broken up with her significant other over the sort of same period. So she booked a flight out in February. We were like, let's do something like cool, like getting over our ex is kind of cool. And my friend worked at the bungee jump, and she managed to get us half-price bungee. I went, "Do you want to do a bungee?" And she was like, "Yeah, go on then." So we booked it, paid for it. And when we got there, we were like, if we hadn't paid for this, we wouldn't be here now. But luckily, we paid for it in advance. So I didn't jump first time. It took me a couple of countdowns to jump, but I did it, and I was like, okay, I'll never do that again. Like, I've done it now, wouldn't pay for it again, whatever. And then I moved to New Zealand, and I actually got a job working at the bungee jump. And I even said, I'm not going to pay to do it. Like, I wouldn't pay to do it. But they had like a swing there. They've heard of the Nevis swing, so they've got a big kangaroo swing. And I was like, I'll probably pay to do the swing because it's a little bit different, but I wouldn't pay to do a bungee again. I've done one. Anyway, I got the job there, and on your induction day, they go, off you go, do them all, and you have to do like 3 bungees, a swing, and a couple all on your first day. And that the one in Canada was 60 meters. The one in New Zealand was 134. So I was stood up there and I was like, but once I did it, it was so fun. And then I did like one like every week or something.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool. So I haven't bungee jumped, but I've gone skydiving and I've gone paragliding.
I've done skydiving as well. It's a bit obviously it's really different because you bounce back up, and that's the weird part is the bouncing back up. Because you just sort of become weightless for a little while and you drop again. It's really fun. I'd recommend. I mean, I recommend doing it if you are scared in like a more safe place, because I have heard some dodgy bungee jumping stories from like South America and stuff. So New Zealand is the place to go because they where bungee originated. So the company that I worked for was actually, other than Vanuatu, and they used to jump with vines attached to them. Like the bungee jump I worked at was the first commercial like visitor, customer bungee jump in the world.
With vines? Vines? I wouldn't trust the vine.
Yeah, they used to jump from like, I don't know, high places and tie vines to their ankle. Apparently, that's where it came from.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is crazy. I'm trying to think of like what have I done. Never have I ever. Never. I don't know. If you guys are out there, by the way, tell us. Never have I ever. I like it when they ask us.
Yeah.
I like those questions. I want to hear what they've never done and what you guys have done.
Okay, I've got one.
Go ahead.
Never have I ever slept on a sleeper train.
Okay, in the sleeper.
Like, what about a sleeper bus? Is that like the same thing? Like a bus and a train?
No, I've slept on a bus every night, or like, I've been on a long, but like, you know how you get those sleeper trains, so they have the compartments on the train, like, like
what if you slept like in a chair, like?
No, like on an actual sleeper train. They have it or like Vietnam or India, and they have actual like compartments that you sleep, and the journey's like, I don't know, 27 hours or something,
Oh yeah, the overnight bus I was on did have the compartments where you had like little.
Okay. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so I've slept on a train, but like I was too cheap to get a compartment.
Two of them. I did one in Vietnam, and then I did one from Istanbul to Sofia, Bulgaria.
Oh, nice. How long was that?
It was fun. We had a lot of fun. The Vietnam was a little sketchy because I saw that there was like cockroaches and everything, but we had to buy like these silk sleeper bags. It was an experience to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd like to do that with somebody. I don't know if I'll do that. I mean, maybe I'll do it by myself. I don't know, but because I don't know. I feel like if I had someone there, I feel like Vietnam or something, I'd feel a bit more comfortable.
So in Vietnam, I was with Flying the Nest. So we were in first class cabins. So they're actually decent compared to what I hear the other ones are like. And then in Sofia, when we went to Sofia, the car was actually really nice. So then we had our own like little car. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought of one that might get Christine, but I don't know if it'll get you guys. So never have I ever stayed at one of those like fancy hotels that like have like the pool with like the view like out. You know what I mean? Like what are they, infinity pools, right?
Define fancy.
If you got a beautiful view from your like room or whatever, or from the pool, like that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So you mean like I stayed in a hotel where I've had like
I will admit that.
Go ahead.
During COVID, staying at a room like that is super nice because when you're doing room service with the butler door, which is instead of them coming into your room to deliver your dinner, they're doing it through the butler door. So there's no touch points at all. So several times 2 weeks ago when I was staying at a 5-star resort in Playa del Carmen, we would order dinner in, and then we never had to worry about someone entering the room or coming to pick up the plates and stuff. And so it was a really great experience, and a lot of people there who were trying to social distance. It was such a great vacation for them because there were a lot of private pools with your own room, and then you could just order room service the entire time.
COVID-friendly travel. Look at that.
Book completely on points, though. I booked 14 nights on points. That's pretty gnarly.
Wow.
What points card is that?
The Amex Platinum.
Oh.
It is a $550 a year number, which just seems like a lot, but it has paid for itself 10 times over. It's amazing.
So that's just a regular card. It's not a travel card.
It's a travel card. Yeah.
Oh, it is
the Amex Platinum travel card.
I think we all got our Amex or not Amex, but travel cards that we're probably using and stuff like that. But we gotta know. Did anyone else have anything to say about the 5-star resorts? Or the?
I was gonna say I stayed in an infinity pool in Kuala Lumpur, but it wasn't like technically classified as a 5-star. It just like had an infinity pool, but it was like supposed to be just like a regular hotel.
I definitely want to do that one day. Like that's definitely on the bucket list. I just want you guys to know. But like,
when I was in Singapore, I went to Marina Bay Sands bar, and I see the infinity pool. And I was like, I would love to stay in there, but like, I was staying in a lesser.
Same here.
Yeah, yeah. You can go to the bar whenever though, so that's the cool.
Yeah, it was still a really cool view. Like everyone was like swimming around in the pool at like 10 p.m. and it was really hot, and I was like, I could be in that pool right now. That's okay. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I stayed at a resort in the DR, and I was with a couple girlfriends. We said it was like our anniversary to get upgraded. I'm all about the pool, okay? And they upgraded us to a suite with a pool right outside of our room. Our own private pool.
Nice.
That was a perk of that trip. So I would do anything for a free pool. So
Guys, you guys want to do it?
A lesbian for the weekend, that's fine. Whatever.
I mean, nowadays it doesn't even matter, you know? Like,
Hey, you know?
yeah. We got another one. So, never have I ever gotten food poisoning.
Because I got food poisoning with it.
I have.
I don't think I have either.
I don't remember when.
In Peru with Sharia, I got really sick. And then the next day we had a 12-hour bus ride to Arequipa, and I almost like shit my pants. So
Literally. You mean literally.
I like woke up. Oh my God. And it came, I was puking. It was so bad. And she knows.
I can bring together 5-star resorts, scuba diving, infinity pools, and food poisoning in this story. So I got sick while I was in Southeast Asia, and I've gotten food poisoning a lot, to the point where I stocked up on Cipro when I was in Mexico to bring that to Africa with me next month. But I got so sick that I could not move for 5 days. And so each day at this 5-star resort in Thailand, they would pick me up in the golf cart, drive me to the infinity pool, where I would sit at the in-pool bar with a cold compress on my head, drinking a juice. And because I had such bad body aches, I would get a massage at the pool, like a light massage every day. And it was the most miserable, amazing experience that I've ever had. I was sick for 5 days. I could not eat solid food. It was intense.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Well, they took good care of you. That's good.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of a story, and I don't know if anybody has anyone gotten hurt before on a trip. So I'm gonna say my hurt story, and then we'll see if anybody else, like if anyone else wants to share. But like, you reminded me like that they took care of you. So when I was in Germany for like the second or third time or whatever, like in my trip in 2018, I stayed in a hostel. This hostel was called The Tent. So this was like an untraditional hostel, and it was like this huge, like it was in a park, and they had like 4 or 5 like huge circus tents. And these huge circus tents had like hundreds of beds in them, like bunk beds, hundreds of bunk beds in them. So, and like they had bonfires every night. They had like a little area where you could purchase food and stuff like that. And it was just like all outdoors. They had like hammocks lying around. It was very chill. It was like honestly one of my favorite hostels. And like, it was just super cool because they had like the community bonfire at the end of the night, every night they had a bonfire. And then you could just like, everybody would just drink at night. So the first night we're there, we're drinking. We meet some guys from like Idaho, which, you know, I didn't even know anybody from Idaho until then. Like we, you know, we're talking with them, me and my best friend, and we're talking to a bunch of people at the fire, and we ended up like, so they shut it down like every night at like 2 a.m. or whatever time, like it was like 2 a.m. every night. So we're like, okay, like after that, like they were like, okay, everybody has to go to bed. Like everyone has to go to bed, or you can leave or whatever. Like, you know, that's their shutdown. So we were like, okay, well, we're going to leave. And we were like, let's just go walk around the park and hang out for a little bit. So we walked around, and obviously it's dark. So we're like, it's in a park. So we're like going around and kind of just walking back, but we're walking back, and like there's like a hole in the ground, but it was like covered in grass. So I didn't see it. And I have like twisted my ankles like multiple times and everything. So I've had like issues with that. And I actually did that like right before I left for my trip. And so like it was kind of already like fresh. And like I stepped in this hole, and like my ankle cracked like 3 times. It was like crack, 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 crack. And like I fell down to the ground, and like I was out for like, thankfully I had my brace with me and everything. But so luckily, like the guys are like helping me back, like carrying me back. But that ended up being like, so then I couldn't go. We had to cut down our time going to Berlin. So we were in Munich longer, but we stayed there longer because I couldn't carry my backpack. I had a 50-pound backpack, and I was backpacking, and I couldn't do that with like one leg. So I stayed there, but it was so nice because there was like a doctor there, like that was staying at the hostel, and she's like, "Oh, what do you need?" And she like checked out my foot, and there was like a guy from Canada who was a pharmacist, and he had like medication, and he was like, "Oh, look, you could take this." And like they were like all taking care of me, and like people would help. Like I would go to get up to go to the bathroom, and people would be like, "Oh, do you need help?" And like random people would just like help me to the bathroom and stuff. And like they're like, "Oh, do you need help to the hammock?" And I was just chilling for a few days, like just chilling in the hammocks around the camp. And like, it was a really great time. It was very relaxing, but like really sucks that my ankle like was out. I had to like stay still. So like that was crazy. So that was my hurt story that Christine's story reminded me of. I don't know, does anybody else have any crazy hurt stories?
I have an alcohol-related hurt story. Alcohol is always related in most of these stories. So I was with my friends in Canada, and we were going out that night. I think have we been? Was it snowing? I think it was winter time. Yeah, we've been on the mountain, and then we were getting ready to go out. I was at our house, and her bedroom was downstairs. So we went to get ready. So I picked up my drink and. I think my drink and then the actual spirit in the bottle, and I had one thing under my arm. Walked downstairs, took the first step, slipped, like landed straight on my coccyx, like winded myself to the point where you know you can't breathe, but you're laughing at the same time because you know what else to do. Luckily, I didn't spill the alcohol; it was in complete taps in my hand. Yeah, not a drop spill.
Not enough. Yeah, that alcohol was saved.
Literally, but then fully slipped, like smacked on my coccyx, and I've never experienced like the pain like it because it just shot through me, and I couldn't breathe. But at the same time, I was in so much pain that I was laughing / crying while screaming. And then my friend was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm not sure." Like this. And then as it happened, my other friend walked in the door at the top of the door upstairs to come in the house and went, "What just happened?" And she was like, "Oh, Bex fell down the stairs and think she's like smashed her coccyx." And my friend was like, "Are we still gonna go out?"
Are we still drinking away the pain?
Yeah, are we still gonna go out? So I was like, so I was trying to walk around, trying to walk it off, but it was really painful. So I was like walking really slowly, and like it kept like sending shooting pains at me. So I was like, "You guys are gonna have to go without me." So I called my significant other. We were still together at the time, and I called him to try and get him to pick me up, but he was out somewhere, no answer. I called my housemates, they were out, no answer. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, I luckily managed to get hold of one of my work colleagues. They picked me up, took me home. I couldn't even get in the car. I was like sat. I couldn't get down. And then I got in my house, but at the time there was no steps to my house because one of my housemates had stupidly left their handbrake off, and the car had driven down the steps and crashed into the house. So we had no steps like from where we were. Like our house was like down, like sort of in the woods a little bit. So I had to somehow shimmy down this muddy, snowy pathway because it was winter into the house. And then my bed was really high. I don't know why we had such a high bed. My bed was really high, so I couldn't sit down to get on it, so I have to like flop like a fish on my bed, fully clothed. I couldn't undress myself because it hurt so much, and just lay there on top of my bed and cry myself to sleep. It was quite funny, but also really sad.
That's crazy. Oh my god.
And then the next morning when all my housemates are home, I told them the story, and they were like, "Oh my god, we feel so bad." And I was like, "It's fine, I'm okay." Yeah.
It's fine. It's like that meme, the like dog on fire with the flames like in the house. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. That's so funny. Oh gosh. Oh, it's horrible. I mean, I'm so sorry, but like,
no, it was hilarious. But like, the sad thing was I couldn't ski for like 6 weeks, which was quite sad. But other than that, it's quite a funny story to tell. Because I didn't drop any alcohol. I was so proud of myself.
I'm so proud of you.
Never have I ever snowboarded. I know who that's gonna get.
Yeah, no, not me. No snowboarding.
Yeah.
No.
What about skiing?
Really?
You skied?
Yeah. Because what?
Have you skied?
No skiing, no snowboarding.
Oh,
I've
really?
been tempted to ski.
I come from the snow. I know.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't make sense. She's in Michigan. Well, both of you guys are up north. I'm in Florida. It makes sense for me. There's no.
I'm so
I cover Michigan skiing on my YouTube channel.
Hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, that's
Are you living in Canada though right now?
Probably break my ankle. So no.
yeah, that's the thing. I would definitely break something for sure.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't broken something, but somehow 3 seasons strong.
Same, to be fair. I'm surprised I haven't injured myself on the mountain. I just do it falling down the stairs instead.
That's the way though, isn't it? Oh.
I love skiing, but I've snowboarded before. But one thing for me, so I booked a one-way ticket to Africa, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, like when are you going to come back?" And I'm like, honestly, it depends on the snow. I had a friend pick up a ski season rental for me, so I have skis in Utah, and I'm like, depending on how the snow is, that's when I will come back from Africa.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to try snowboarding because, like, I tried skiing. I went to my brother used to live in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is like as far north in Pennsylvania as it gets, right on the lake or whatever. So we like went to this area, and I was like, oh, I really want to try skiing. Like, I need to try it. Like, I've never done it, even though it was fake snow, because everywhere I go, it doesn't snow for real, like ever. Like, so we went to the ski resort, and like at that time, like when we got there, like they had shut down like all the small ski like areas. So like the Bunny Hill or whatever it's called, or I don't know.
Yeah.
The bunny, that thing that wasn't available. Like Black Diamond and like these other big crazy ones were available, and I was just like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I'll try it. Mind you, I like using my brother's skis because he had skis, and I was like, he's like, me and him were like sort of not really the same size and shoe, and I was like, yeah, this is fine. And like I didn't realize how important it is to really have like things that like fit you. So like my thing, because like my brother didn't want to go skiing. Like he wasn't like about that. So I was like, okay, how about I just like try and go up there and hold on with that. Here we go. Sorry.
Good name.
So I was trying to get back. So I went up there. I got on the skis. I was like doing well. I didn't fall. Like I get on the ski thing. My thing was like, I'm gonna find someone, like whether it be boy, girl, whatever. I'm just gonna be like, hey, like, oh yeah, it's my first time. Like, that was supposed to be a future husband moment right there. Okay, like damsel in distress.
Like Hallmark movie, the snow.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Oh man.
So it turned out more Bridget Jonesy rather than Damsel. Have you seen Bridget Jones when she goes skiing?
Yeah.
So she goes there and tries to be all like, I've got this, I'm fine. And because there's another lady there that's really good at skiing, and she's kind of jealous of her. She's like, yeah, I've got this. Puts the skis on. Next thing she's like full pelting down the mountain, like I don't know, just literally out of control. And then she ends up doing a ski jump, doesn't she? And she's like, ah, or something. Yeah.
That would have been me had I gotten that far, probably. And I had gotten up on the ski, like a ski lift. I'm like in it, didn't fall. got off of the ski lift, didn't fall. Pretty impressed with myself.
Yeah, it's
Never been in skis before. Got off of the ski lift, was like skiing, kind of like working my way. But my brother was down at the bottom or whatever and told someone like, oh yeah, my sister's up there. And she probably seemed like people probably were like, what the hell? Why'd you let your sister go up there? She's like, yeah, my sister's up there. And she's trying to ski for the first time. And they're like, what? She shouldn't be skiing. She's never skied before. She doesn't have an instructor with her. Like, he's like, no, she just wanted to try it. And they're like, oh my gosh. So like this guy comes. So I'm like, make him away. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be going from here. I was waiting for the man at that point, of course. And then and then a guy comes up and he's like, hey, are you the person who's skiing alone, like that have never skied before? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, hold on right there. And I'm like, okay. So like then some, I guess, ski instructor comes up and he's like, you really shouldn't be up here right now, like alone, like never skiing before. This is not for you. And I was like, oh, like I just really wanted to try it. I'm adventurous. Like, and he was like, okay, I'm going to give you like some pointer lessons or whatever, and we'll see how it goes. But if you don't look like you're getting it, then you're going to have to go down to the snowmobile. I'm like, oh, okay. So like we try it. I'm falling. we try going down some, and I was just falling all over the place. Like my brother's skis were old, and it was just bad. And like that really hurts your legs. Oh my god, it hurts your legs. Like it really does. I was not prepared for that type of leg action. I have strong legs, but I was not prepared. And like he was just like, "Do you give up?" And I was like, I guess so. But I was like, he was like, it's just really dangerous. If you go down this specific hill, like you could really hurt yourself. And I'm like, okay, fine. So then I
did he carry you in his arms down the hill?
No, they brought like a snowmobile up, which is like apparently like the ride of shame. But that was pretty tempting to be
adventurous. You thought riding the snowmobile without any injury. Like the amount of people I've seen get a snowmobile down the mountain with like a brake on and the lane, they're like,
yeah.
That's true. At least that wasn't me.
Yeah.
They got me ahead of time. I mean, that was going to be my opportunity for the man, but whatever. It's cool. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Go ahead. Oh, what was that?
No, I felt like I had something to say, but I don't. I felt like I had a never have I ever, but I was gonna say never have I ever done an overnight hike, but then I remembered I have done an overnight hike, and I was trying to reword it into something else to do with hiking, but I can't really think of something that I haven't I've
never done an over. Never have I ever hiked and then camped and then hiked back.
I did that.
I haven't done that.
I have.
Yeah.
And Vietnam.
Or you trek through Peru, Machu Picchu.
Oh, nice.
I'm dying. I'm so desperate to do that. Oh my god, it's top of my list.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is I cried before I got to like the altitude got to me and I felt awful. And like at one point, like I felt like every foot was just so heavy and I wasn't going anywhere.
Oh.
And I remember I was literally like probably 20 feet from like the summit and I was like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And my dad was like, come on, muchacho, you got this. And I was like, I know. And then
you did the Inca Trail.
Crying, then actually like climbing to the top. And then as soon as I got to the top, I started bawling because I was like, that was awful. I don't know why I did that. And then, we had to hike all the way to Machu Picchu after that. And I was like, I'm dead.
Wow.
I don't know why I thought I was fit enough to do that, but
How many miles was that?
Every day was about 12 to 20 miles a day.
Was that
kilometers? So
Okay,
yeah.
Do you go on like a tour and then they help carry your bags and they set the camp up at night? Is that how it works? Like you sort of go in a group or you go by yourself?
We had donkeys that carried our packs, but yeah. But I still
so at least you didn't have the backpack, right?
Well, I still had a backpack with quite a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you needed for the day. But
because they'd meet you there. So how many days was that?
4 days.
So like 4
days. 4 days too long. Let's just put it that way.
So like 80 kilometers almost, like, or max like 8 kilometers.
Yeah, I think like our one day we went like 18 kilometers and my feet were killing me. It was awful.
Wow.
And then like by the time we made it to like Machu Picchu, I was dead. Like I didn't even enjoy myself at Machu Picchu. I was like, I just want it was awful.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a trek.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do the Appalachian Trail one day, here in the U.S., but not like the whole thing. The whole thing takes like 6 months, but like I want to do like a part of it, like make my way. What about anyone else? Does anyone else have anything from the?
I was gonna say my story is not as intense as that one, but in Vietnam there's the Hong En Caves, which is connected to Song Dun Cave, but the Hong En Cave is the 3rd largest cave in the world, and the hiking and trekking and staying over part was just to like go into the jungle to get to the cave. So most of it, there was a little bit of ups and downs, but it was mostly kind of flat. So same kind of thing. They carried our backpacks. It wasn't donkeys. They just had like the other guides just carrying everyone's backpacks and like running ahead, I guess, because they were so skilled they could just like run it. And then the sleepover part was when we actually got to the caves and there was like a beach inside of the cave and they had like tents all set up for us and they had a chef come with us and make us food. And it was so amazing. And it was, and then the other parts of the days we got to like hike through the cave and stuff too. So that was the trekking part, but we had it a little bit easier, but I was definitely exhausted by the end though. And the guide, I was almost not going to make it, but he was like, come on. And he was pushing me up. Basically he had to like drag me up to the end. But then at the very, very end, he's like, okay, now you go ahead and like, everyone will think you did it all by yourself. I was like, no. I was like, and I'm like, I did it. And everyone's like, yay. I'm like the least fit person here. I'm like, oh no. Everyone's already done. Just the tour guide.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's like definitely glamping at its finest though. Like
yeah,
glamping.
Chef. Oh my goodness. And then
Yeah, I've only ever done a hike like, so obviously in the States and Canada they have like just like huts in the mountain that you can stay in, like on.
Oh wow.
Like on
What are they called?
like just like mountain huts, and in like Canada and New Zealand, and I think the US has them. I'm not sure. But they just have like public huts. Like in Canada, most of the land is crown land, so it's mostly just it's like free for all, not free for, but basically a free for all. It's not owned by anybody. It's not owned by the country or whatever. So they have so many huts on the mountain that people have built in the past, like that people go ski touring and they stay in the huts. But these huts have fires in them, and people take things and leave things there when they go. So I've stayed in, I've done a bit of camping, but I've also stayed in mountain huts and taken like just tins of soup in my backpack, and then just gone to this mountain hut, started the fire, put the tin of soup on the fire, had that for dinner, and then just slept in the candlelight. It's really cool.
Wow, that sounds really cool. So you can just like go to any hut, like, or
I mean, normally it's like first come first serve. Some of them,
Yeah.
So in New Zealand, for example, I did a 3-day walk in Abel Tasman, so it's along the beach. It was kind of up and down, but it wasn't too bad. It was a coastal walk, so it was more just long than anything. And then they had these huts, or these shelters on the beaches that slept like 30 people. So you basically had like a row of beds, a row of basically wood, and you bought your own roll mat, or you bought your own, sleeping bag, and you laid it out. Some of them had like a really thin mat, but they weren't that comfy. Yeah, they had like basically row and then a row underneath it, and then they had like 2 rooms of that. So you'd basically get there, put your stuff down, that would be your place for the night. So you could sleep next to a random stranger if it was completely full. And when it was full, it was like first come first serve. So if you couldn't get a spot there, then you couldn't stay there. But it doesn't cost, like the ones in Canada, they don't really cost often. You can donate and stuff, but they don't have a price, and you literally just go there, and if someone's there before you either ask if you can join in if there's room, and if not, you can't go there because it's like first come first serve.
yeah, it's almost like hostels, but like free hostels, but like
it's really they're really cool. Like, I remember me and my ex took his snowmobile out into the mountains on Christmas, and we went to this hut, and like it had a frozen lake outside, so we were on the snowmobile on the frozen lake, and then again just sat in the hut and put the fire on, and again you can just do it freely.
Very cool. That's awesome.
My story is totally different from everyone else's, and it starts with buying a machete. I was in Colombia, and I asked this guy who was starting an adventure travel company, whatever that means, but he is a very good triathlete who was trying to become a tour operator in Colombia. And he took me on this 3-day trek in which we started on this jungle hike in which he was like, we need to stop at the corner store because we're buying machetes. And I was like, why? He was like, because we're gonna hike through the jungle. And the most fascinating thing that I learned about machetes is that you are not going like this, you are going like this through the jungle. And so we hiked through the jungle all day, and then we camped on the beach in this little town in which there's like almost nobody that lives there, but they completely ran out of water. And so the only thing they had available was Colombian beer, which is like water. And so that's all that I had for the rest of that day. But that was my last camping trip.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, maybe if you take a less strenuous machete-less
Maybe. I've been training every day because I'm going to ride a bike across Ethiopia next month. And it involves 4 nights of camping. And I've been trying to ride a bike every day, which is hard when you're drinking a lot.
YOLO.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. All right. That was, I think, a really great. I loved all the stories that you guys had. I don't know if anybody has anything last minute that they want to add to that little portion, but I liked the never have I ever edition of travel. And I think we got some good stories out of that. If you guys are watching live, you guys make sure you guys check out these amazing creators because each of them, Bex, you are only on Instagram, right?
What do you mean? Sorry.
You're only on Instagram, right?
Well, I have Facebook, but do you mean anything? What other platforms are there that everyone else is using?
We're all on YouTube.
Oh, see, no, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really got into it. Like, I love recording myself on like doing like a sort of, but when I'm actually traveling and I'm doing a story on Instagram, but I haven't really ever got into making a vlog and actually editing it and putting it together. I don't know.
Not yet.
I mean, I think I'd like to do it. I just never really find the time, and I just never really I don't know, when I'm traveling, I always just record, put on Instagram sort of there and then it disappears. And I don't know. I never really think to. Yeah. I probably should, but I just never do.
Well, I think we all can agree that like YouTube is like definitely
Yeah, it's like
a lot of work.
You don't got it.
yeah.
Easy, Bex, no problem.
What'd you say?
I said it's easy. It's no problem.
Easy.
I think Instagram's enough work as it is, especially trying to regrow my account. I'm like, yeah, that's
Oh yeah, guys, Bex, her account got deleted or like deactivated or whatever. Yeah, just a few months ago.
back in the end of September. And then I left it for 3 weeks, trying to like email them, trying to get, I was sending them, I was reporting it, I was following all the steps, like sending a picture of me holding this number in that I got told I had to do, and I heard nothing back. I was emailing them, I was tweeting them, I was everything, and then I literally heard nothing. And my account was still there for a while, but when I checked the other day, my account's completely gone. Like before, it was saying that I just couldn't log in, but now it's saying my account doesn't exist, so it's completely gone. But they didn't get back. They didn't get back to me at all, so I just started again.
That's crazy. I think it was Christine who actually reached out and saw our Travel Tip Tuesday with me and Bex, and she's like, "Oh, she seems super cool," and she's like, "What? Wait, where's her Instagram? I don't see her. She doesn't." I was like, "Wait, what?" And then like I was like, "Where did Bex go?"
Yeah. So I came back stronger than ever.
Yeah. So everybody else is on YouTube though. So for those of you guys who are watching, rewatching, whatever you might be, make sure you guys subscribe to each of their channels. We've got The Wanderful Life of Kayla. We've got Beth Gould. We got Christina, Christine, yours is the
Where in the World is CL is my travel channel. Which I'm hitting Tulum hard right now with Mexico content, but I also have a drone YouTube channel because I want more women to fly drones. Yeah.
Love it.
Yes, you're gonna get me there. We're gonna get there. And then Deanna Troy Travels. over there. Yeah, all of our YouTube channels. So make sure you guys check out each of their YouTube channels. And yeah, so let's go. I want to end this on a good note. So, any ideas, guys? What? Anybody out there who's watching? Like, what do you guys want to hear last? How should we end this?
What about favorite way to say cheers from a place that you've traveled to? Let me refill myself.
I don't know if you guys have ever been to a country for Christmas at all, or if ever traveled for Christmas, but like maybe like the favorite place you've spent Christmas, even if it's at home, but.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to. So last year I was supposed to go to Iceland for Christmas, but then that didn't happen, and now I'm really sad it didn't happen because COVID. So, but yeah, no, I haven't spent Christmas anywhere. Has anyone else spent Christmas anywhere?
Yeah, it was and we were in Hong Kong for Christmas and Vietnam and a little bit of Laos because in December. Everyone is just like, okay, it's Christmas. All the tourists, let's get up the decorations. Just like December 1st, boom, all over there in Asia. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. In Hong Kong, they had like a big setup with like a snow globe, and they had fake sudsy snows everywhere. And yeah, none of the places actually had snow, but they all had like little, faux snow things that you could just like run around in and everything. So. Yeah,
how do you say cheers in Hong Kong? Do they speak Cantonese? Or is it Mandarin? Is it Mandarin or Cantonese in Hong Kong?
A bunch of different languages, but I mean, if you're going to the touristy spots, then there's like English around to like guide your way, and a lot of people speak English there too. But yeah, I think Cantonese is the main one.
So you don't know how to say cheers in Cantonese?
No, but my favorite cheers phrase, I only remember one, even though I said it a lot, but is kanpai from Japan.
Well, okay, so we're each going to cheers from each. This is going to be sick. Yeah. So what was that?
Kanpai.
Kanpai.
Japanese for cheers.
What about you, Bex?
Cheers? I'm trying to think of.
Or while you're thinking of that, who has the next one?
The only one that I can think of is
Salud.
Did you both say just salute at the same time?
Yeah. That's all right. The only one I can think of.
Oh, I thought of another one. Vietnamese. Ma hai bat yo.
Oh, yep.
And that's like 1, 2, 3 or something like that, right?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Drink with me. What about you, Beth?
I can't think of one. No.
I've got one. So in Prague, Czech, it's called Nastravid. I almost got that tattooed on me because like we used to say it so much like when we were there. I drink so much in Prague. Like drinking in Prague is like so cheap. It's like $1. First of all, not that I drink beer, but like it's like $1 for beer. So like less than $1 for beer there, and like their other alcohol is really cheap too. And like, obviously, I was talking about the Czech herbal liqueur or whatever. So yeah, Nostrum is like a major word over there.
That's quite a cool thing as well. Travel tattoos.
Oh, I have no tattoos. I am tattooless.
I don't have any travel tattoos. No.
I've got 3. They're all travel related. That's one. I got them when I was traveling. I don't know. I never wanted tattoos, and then I went traveling, and I just went, I'm gonna get tattoos.
So how you get 3 from 3 different countries?
No, so I've got 2 different countries because the one on my shoulder, my first one is the mountains with the Inukshuk, which is the statue of the North in Canada. So in Whistler, when you go to the mountain resort there, they've got these all over the mountain resort. They've got these gigantic concrete men statues, like made out of just massive stones, and they were like the Winter Olympic sort of mascot thing. Anyway, so my tattoo on my shoulder is the mountains with that Inukshuk. It's my Canadian one. And then I've got a croissant on my ankle because so when I was living in Canada, I worked in a bakery, and my friend used to say croissant like really fancy, and we'd all like laugh at her for it. So we had a group chat that was labeled like croissant, but spelled like KWIASSSSS, like just like taking the mick basically. And so then we decided to get a friendship tattoo with a croissant on our ankle.
Love that.
And then I've got this.
What if you did the name like spelt wrong, like no regrets?
Yeah.
Sharia said Dravo. Dravo. I'm pretty sure that's Czech because like the Z in front, I'm not sure. I don't know what is that, Sharia?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
What is Dravo?
Tell us.
Where are we cheersing to? Like, what country are we cheersing from?
Hold on, let's text her.
Yeah, right. Like, just throw us out a word, and then we're like, it doesn't even mean cheers. It's
Well,
like,
you're off to travel, so she knows words from pretty much every single country she's gone to. So
I know a word, but I don't know how to say cheers. Normally the words I learn are inappropriate. Not gonna lie. Like, I normally always end up learning swear words whenever I travel. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
well, what's funny is I always did learn the cheers. Prost is German. So in Denmark it's skål.
Yeah.
There's a funny story behind that because like the Vikings and everything in Denmark, like because I was like obviously very Norwegian type of thing with the Vikings, so apparently like they used to like cheers and like the skulls of like their enemies or whatever, like, and they would like drink out of those skulls. So like that's why like where skull comes from is like it's spelled SKOL, but it's pronounced like skull, and that's like how you say skull. Yeah. Who knows? That's apparently.
This is a really weird. I'm relating to that skull, and it's kind of travel related in a way. Anyone here when they were younger watched Winnie the Pooh?
Yes.
Okay, so you know when Christopher Robin goes to school, but they all call it Skull, and then they go on an adventure to find Christopher Robin. It's kind of like they were like traveling. They were like going on an adventure. Honestly, great movie. If you haven't watched it, watch Winnie the Pooh when they go find Christopher Robin's in Skull. It's great. You have to watch it.
On the to-do list.
It's so good. It's such a good movie. Even now, I'd love it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on here. I loved this. This was so awesome. Thanks for joining the first edition of Christmas edition of Travel Tipsy Tuesday with these awesome creators. You guys can always reach out to each of them in the description of this video. There is the link to their YouTube channel or their Instagram handle, and just all of their content is amazing. And each of them, I just realized I should probably also tag like your Travel Tip Tuesday video like underneath your name that I did with each of you guys, because that's as long as I want it too. So I'll have to add that into there as well. But this was so fun, and it's funny because I had this idea like a little bit ago, and I was like, "Oh, we should do like a Travel Tipsy Tuesday," and then Christmas happened. I was like, "We're gonna make a Christmas edition." So it's been super fun, and I'm so thankful that you guys came on, and it was nice that we could have like, you know, I know Beth is in Canada and Bex is in England and all the different time zones. So I appreciate you guys taking the time, and Nashtra Reid. And we will have to see. I do go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for a Travel Tip Tuesday, not usually with the tipsy. But yes, so make sure that you guys check that out if you guys are watching live. But thank you guys so much for coming on, and we will see you guys later. All right. Bye.